Hi, this is Tim with Vortex Hobbies. Today we're going to take a look at the new Heli-Max 230 Si Quadcopter. It's the new quadcopter with the camera that Heli-Max has just put out. It is in the 230 size range, so it's one of their bigger quads that we've seen from Heli-Max so far. So let's take a look inside the box. First, we have the manual. Take a look at how they package this. They did a very good job on the packaging. Everything's got a slot for it. You can take this with you wherever you go. You can store your quad inside this at the field, take it with you wherever you're going. It's a great little travel case that it comes in. Let's take a look. Now, first of all, in here it looks like we have an extra set of props and some screws to put on the props and possibly some body screws. There's quite a few screws in there, so that's nice. This quad is actually taking a 1200 milliamp. It's a 30C battery with a JST connection. It's supposed to give us some decent flight times on this quad. Next we have the power pack, which plugs into our battery charger, which our battery charger is a 200 milliamp charger for the quad battery. We've got batteries for the remote. We've got a screwdriver for those little screws that we have. We got a card reader and a 2 gig card, micro SD card in here. That is for the camera. Here's your radio. It's the TX465 radio. It's got the IMC buttons and the flight mode buttons, and also the picture and the video buttons. These are to operate the camera and the flight modes of this quad. And next we have the quad itself. So you see it's a bigger size than Heli-Max has put out before. This quad does have a camera. It also comes in a version without the camera. But if you want to fly this with the camera, you can fly it just like it is. If you want to take the camera off, there's 4 little screws and a little plug, and the camera will come off. It's got cool looking little LEDs underneath. This quad is still brushed, so it's got 4 brushed motors running by a gear that drives the prop. It's got an LED on the back. This is for your flight modes. As you hit the button, it'll flash and it'll indicate which mode you're in, whether it's beginner or advanced or altitude hold. So this has got an altitude hold function on it, so that this quad will limit itself to about 10 feet in altitude. So as you give it throttle, it'll go up and hit a 10-foot ceiling, and that's where it'll stop. It's got a few other functions. It's got direct input function, where you give the stick input forward. No matter what direction the quad is in, it will go forward. You pull it back, it will come back. It doesn't matter the orientation of the quad. The stick input relies to the direction that the quad will fly. It's got cool little landing gear, and it looks like it's going to be a fun little flying quad. Alright, I'm going to make a correction. I said that the charger was a 200 milliamp. It's actually a 2000 milliamp charger. And it's got settings on here to 1.8 amps. This battery is a 1.2 amp battery, so the charge rate should be less than an hour on this. So we're going to do a little bit of test flying with it, get some video of that. Then we're going to come back and do a review, or a closing review I should say, and let you know how it flies and what our thoughts are of it. It's kind of windy out here. We're going to test out I believe this is the ceiling limiting mode, so it'll only allow it to go so high no matter where the stick input is. I've got full throttle right there, and as you can see, the wind's trying to push it around a little bit, but she's doing really well. If you look at the radio, I've got full throttle right there. She's staying underneath the 10-foot limit. Let's set her down and try a different mode. It's a great mode for flying indoors where you have high ceilings. Okay, still pretty windy out here. We're going to test normal mode for this quadcopter. Actually pretty extremely windy. It's actually doing pretty good in it. high winds. This is altitude limiting flight mode. It will only go so high and it won't allow us to go any higher. You see we're at full throttle and it won't allow it to go any higher than that. Maintains altitude. In this mode, when you land it, you'll notice it's got a little bit, it lands very nice and slow. It kind of wants to set down gentle and then shuts off the motor. So it's a little bit different than actual stick input. Alright, we're back from our test flight. We took it outside. We were testing. The wind was pretty gusty. It was pretty strong winds out there, and I was surprised how well it actually did. We went through all the features. We tested your advanced flying, basic flying, altitude, limiting, all that kind of stuff. All the features worked really well. As you can kind of see in the video, we actually did some indoor video also, and you'll kind of see the altitude limiting where we gave it full throttle and it wouldn't go any higher than up into the ceiling. I mean, it would stop before it ever hit the ceiling, and it just kind of limited itself right there. So overall, I'd say it's a great little quad. Flies really well. It's very stable. Probably one of the most stable quads of this size that I've flown. We did test the return home, or actually it's called return to transmitter, return to pilot function, where basically you hit the switch and it'll detect where the transmitter is transmitting from and come back. We did this out in the wind. It was pretty windy, and as it started coming back to us, it actually overshot where we were standing, so it wasn't a true test. But I don't have a warehouse or anything big enough to test this without wind to find out how accurate that is. Other than that, it does really well. One thing you are going to notice when you're in your altitude limiting modes and things like that is the quad itself on takeoff. You have to actually get the stick throttle up to about half or a little bit better. If you continue to hold it down about quarter throttle or anywhere in that range, you'll see the quad will kind of pulse up and down. That's normal. Once you get it past into the about half to 5/8 on the throttle, it'll actually calm down, and it kind of senses that that's where it triggers the mechanism, and it'll fly a lot better from there. So if you're wondering why your quad's pulsing, just give it a little more power, get it off the ground, lift it up, and she'll behave herself really well. It is super stable. I'm pretty sure any beginner could fly this thing. This quad is on our visual parts finder, so pick one up today. Go check us out at vortexhobbies.com and have fun.